Welcome to Radiant Health. This is an immersion into gratitude for the spiritual gifts of our bodies. Not just the bodies we might think of as our physical bodies, but our mental bodies, our emotional bodies, our energetic bodies. So many different levels of our incarnation that we interface with and that can bring us these great gifts. I'm going to start with a quote from The Real Treasure. And this is a quote from Meru. Remember that where Baba is concerned, everything that happens is fine and just the way he wants it. So be happy for his sake, no matter what situation he puts you in. I'm going to read that one more time. Remember that where Baba is concerned, everything that happens is fine and just the way he wants it. So be happy for his sake, no matter what situation he puts you in.
That's pretty perfect. Yeah, pretty perfect. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
I think like whatever state my mental body is in, Baba's put me in. Whatever state my emotional body's in, Baba put me in. Whatever state my energetic body is in, Baba put me in. And then whatever state my physical body is, Baba put me in. And when I think of it that way, with the emotions and the feelings and the thoughts, that it's all perfectly designed. Of course, we get to play growing and all of that, but every single thing he's put us in, every level of our physical, emotional, mental,
But
and body.
I have to say, this is very interesting for me because this lifetime I spent years depressed. I mean, years and years. And it's pretty epidemic, you know. I mean, I know a lot of people that won't go to work unless they're on antidepressants. I couldn't take those things. The side effects were horrible, but weird. But at any rate, I called it, it's like the living dead. They speak of the living dead, and it's like you're kind of dead, but you're still alive. And also, it's so funny, I'm raised Catholic, so I couldn't, end it. And I thought, I mean, it was really something, and I'm so glad it's over. So glad. But with depression, you don't know when it'll be over. You don't know.
And that's the thing with depression, the very state of it shields you from understanding you can get out of it.
I know. But I what can I attribute getting out of it? I mean, but I have to say, it was like, when I think back and I think, every day is a great day. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm alive, and I'm more alive than I'll never forget, Cindy. I was 23, and I hadn't left my parents' home because I thought, I'm depressed. What if I can't sustain going to work? You know, I mean, it was really spooky. But I had a job. I worked at a university, and I moved out. I never took my thing out of the boxes. So I moved back. You know, I thought, I'm paying rent to look at my boxes. This is not good. I was speaking right, this was radiant depression.
Yes. Oh, I love that term, radiant depression. I am all about the imagination these days, and that the imagination, like we're God's imagination, Maya's God's imagination. Of course, I'm not about it, Baba's about it. And that when we rekindle our imagination and when something new comes up, that's God manifesting. I have never heard or read the term radiant depression before. I think that's new. I think that God just manifested through you, Rosalie, today for us on Radiant Health, that radiant depression is a new thing. And that opens, I believe, the neural networks to more new things to come too.
Yeah, because I tell you, it's pretty epidemic. I mean, this is a country of opioids. You know, it's like, and I mean, I've been there, you know, I think, you know, I've been years and years and, you know, and it's like, when I saw, my roommate came back from San Francisco. I used to live in California, and she held out the "Don't worry, be happy" card. She said, "Look what I got." And I was like a dog after a bone. I thought you had to worry or things would be worse. I mean, I was trained in my family. You worry.
Worried equaled love, and it was a protective talisman against bad.
Say that again.
Worry equaled love. Like I worry about you because I love you. And worry was also like a talisman, a protective talisman against bad. Like you know, but it was protecting you, like the cross.
Yeah. And it's so funny because a neighbor said to my mother, or a friend said, "Frances, your children are depressed." And she says, "I don't understand that. I've never been depressed a day in my life." She didn't know she was a depressed person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I thought, it was a very strange childhood. Of everything was secrets. Like I had to reveal that my older brother came out of a seminary and was molesting my younger sister full on. But I couldn't just let it, you know, I had to tell my parents. He hated me. And, you know, to this day, he holds me responsible for his shame, you know.
Wow.
And he became a police officer. I'm afraid of police because I know how he is, you know. It's like, oh my God.
And that of the body too, like when we don't have authority over our body, when our soul isn't running the show, those things happen. And it's also when we don't, not only just authority like in some suppressive way, but really understanding what the body is here for, then it comes out all sideways and we can be depressed, like literally pressed down, or it can come out sideways in any kind of molestation or rage or whatever it might be. And so to purify, I think when Baba says, you know, the only intrinsic game, you know, that has absolute worth is revealing in this world of forms, truth, beauty, purity, and love. And I think that purity isn't an artificial notion of that you have nothing human, but that you know purely what's your soul and how to direct your body. Like Baba says, the rider needs a horse. Just the way the rider needs a horse, we need a body, and how to then direct that. I heard this amazing, it was like a Zen Buddhist kind of story. And it was that the difference between the body running the show or the mind running the show and the soul is if you were riding a horse and someone stopped you and said, "Where are you going?" And you said, "I don't know, ask the horse." I mean, and that's really our soul with the body and the mind. Like we are the directors of it, but we so often say, "I don't know."
You know what's so funny is because you're a Sagittarius.
Yes.
So like it's a centaur.
It's centaur. And I was singing, I was walking on the beach chanting today and chanting with Baba's name and other chants. And I started chanting, which I'm sure someone has sung before. He'll be coming round the mountain when he comes, you know, like he'll be riding a big white horse when he comes. So today was all about the horse.
Wow.
and the horse energy and
And you're
erupting.
and
Go ahead.
you're a Chinese horse.
And my Chinese horse too,
Were you born in what year?
1964.
Oh, okay. So I'm a Chinese horse. There's different kinds. And then, so it was 54, and then 12 and 54 will be what? It's 66.
66.
No,
That would be,
you're not, but I remember asking your birthday. It's very interesting. You're the opposite, aren't you? Are you the 16th or something like
yes,
that?
I am, Rosalie.
December. That's opposite mine.
Are you June?
June 16th.
Oh, so we're polarities. We're
Yeah.
the perfect complement.
Yeah, well, it's not only that, but you see, I have a loaded house of Sagittarian. My Gemini, overloaded Gemini, and also Jupiter and Cancer is all in the 9th house. That's Sagittarius house.
Wow.
So I'm kind of a Saggy.
You're very saggy. Well, that optimism, the spirit of discovery, the vision that you have.
The bigger picture. Like, big picture. I'd rather eat foreign food. I don't want to eat American food. I want to venture.
I've had to learn. I'm quite a traveler, and in this last year plus, like how to travel within, rather than traveling on a plane or, you know, whatever that might be. And I think that's a good training for the horse, because we have within us, as you know, the soul energy is before spirit, you know, astrological sign. It's before gender, it's before personality. So to be able to say to my astrological personality inclinations, we're not going to do that kind of traveling now, but where can you travel inwardly? Where can you travel with Baba? And that's what I have been, the phrase in here, which I've read many times before. This is, I take a lot out of this Don't Worry, Be Happy compilation of quotes that my daughter Michelle gave me. And there's one in here about diving into the eternal now. And that's what I think, that's how I think we all get to travel from, like what the wormhole is, the time-space continuum, how we time travel, is by what Baba says, taking a daring dive into the eternal now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to read that now.
Yeah.
Only when the mind is utterly detached from the false is it possible for man to disentangle himself from the repetitive clutches of the fleeting moment. And I always like to stop on fleeting moment, because I can like immediately get stuck in the fleeting moment. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, here's this bottle. Did I turn that candle on? Why am I coughing? Should I mute? Like all of these fleeting moment things. And so I'm attached. And then Baba goes on to say, then and only then can he be established in the eternal now, which everlastingly includes the eternal past and the eternal future. The eternal I am is an unfailing assurance of the only reality which ever was and will be. The way to peace and fulfillment in union with God, the divine beloved, is a daring dive into the eternal now. I'm going to read that again. I mean, I love this because it sounds fun too.
Oh, yeah.
The way to peace and fulfillment in union with God, the divine beloved, is a daring dive into the eternal now. And I think like that spirit of adventure, of being a human, like I think we take a daring dive into our body. Like when the soul incarnates, and I like to think of it like, you know, the coach sending us in, it's like, I'll go in, coach, I'll come back again. And Baba and our guide saying the perfect situation for our soul's purpose. And we'll choose this. I mean, I chose American, female, to these parents in Pennsylvania. With my personality temperament, I'll be a Sagittarius. I'll have some anger issues I'll have to work on, some issues with eating, some issues with
where did you come in Pennsylvania?
Bryn Mawr. It's outside of Philadelphia.
Oh, because I was involved with someone I spent Christmas in Feasterville.
Oh,
You
that's
know,
not too far away.
yeah, Bucks County.
Yes. Beautiful area of the world. That
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
That
But
really is.
um, I tell you that diving into the um, now, like the world, I mean, it's like that quote, um, all this world confusion and chaos was inevitable, and no one is to blame. What has to happen has happened. What has to happen will happen. There was and is no way out except through my coming in your midst. I had to come. I had come. I am the ancient one. I mean, it's so now. And what about the diving into the now? Way back in the blue bus time, I have my little. I think of this as a zooming. We're on the blue bus trip with Baba. We're all like little squeezed together. All these people squeezed together, focused on Baba. I love that little.
I love that.
He's even like, can you see him?
I did see it before. You got to put it kind of more. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh my gosh.
Looks like young Baba. And she wrote, now this is a woman, a Baba lover that runs the flower essence farm.
Oh, Green Hope Farms?
Yes.
I
yes,
love those essences.
yes. She's a
Molly?
Baba lover. She's a Baba lover.
Oh,
She actually came to Baba through Mara, because the angels told her to create an essence, and they spelled it out, MEHERA. And it's for, I think it says pure focus on God.
yes.
Pure, and she didn't know, but Baba lovers were getting remedies, and they says, there's a remedy and it's made from white marigold. I didn't even know there was a white marigold. They told the women Mandali, Mara was passed away. They told her, they says there's a flower remedy, it's for pure devotion to God. And they said Mara was trying to create, she would save the seeds from marigolds. She was trying to create a white marigold. She was getting it lighter. She'd take the seeds of the lightest one. And so it's like, she's very devoted to Baba and Mara. Just, I've been to that farm, and also, I mean, I asked for a long time, Baba, are these helping me? I mean, are these helping me? I never got a no. And then we had such a link in Baba. She's a joyful soul, Molly. She's joyful. She just recently, her son Ben went to Oklahoma to the site. So he's zooming her from the accident site. And she was so moved. She says, the zooming, I was zooming, because she doesn't go anywhere unless she is inwardly indicated to gather flowers. She's kind of like Mansari. Baba had her on the hill.
Yes. I have a number of those essences, and I've communicated with Molly via email.
Yeah.
And I have the Mara one, but I'm out of it now. And what I'm thinking of in relationship to the gifts of the body, like the gifts of the earth, and I think it's fabulous with people that need nothing other than, that are so pure in their love for Baba that they need nothing else. That's spectacular. I might not be there yet. And I know I'm not there yet. And then to have the spiritual gift of the body of the plant.
Oh, yeah.
And to help me with my spiritual gifts, because I have pink magnolia, sweet William, and I have like 7 or 8 of them, and I went through, and they're about having like spiritual strength.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
Maris, the strength to focus, the strength to detach, the strength to be in a state where you can feel stable and strong and move forward
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
your growth and not
Yeah.
be, tantalized away.
A friend of mine during the pandemic, she broke her bone, the femur. And I tried to get her to be in touch because Molly her whole family had a penchant for breaking bones. Molly, now she's a farmer, mind you. She broke, I forget what side she broke first. Serious break of the forearm, serious. 4 years later, and she has to be pretty psychic. She's talking to angels, 4 years later, she broke the other. She says Baba is so compassionate, he didn't let her know.
Oh,
He says the compassion of it, because it was so major.
wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was, but it's all about, it's connected with the spiritual breakthrough.
Yeah.
It can't be, because it's so, your bones,
Well, and our bones are like crystals. They're like the formation, and they'll last after we go too. Like the part that will remain even with cremation are some of the bones. And that aspect of our humanity that, and I think of the gift of our bones too.
Oh, yeah. Well, let me
Yeah.
tell you something I remember from physiology. The blood system in the bones is called the Haversian canals.
How do you spell that first word?
Haversion, Haversian canals.
Wow.
And I remember that I was really into science, in high school. The Haversian canals,
And the bone marrow is so instrumental in our immune system.
Oh,
like
yeah.
the bone marrow and the spleen and the thymus. I mean, like the triad of the immune system and so much else, like where these T cells, and can be, where the white cells are made. And I think about that right now. I can kind of even see in my mind's eye, my bone marrow and the Haversian canals,
Yeah.
and how they're
Yeah.
supporting me being on Baba Family Zoom with you, Rosalie, and whoever listens to this in the fleeting future or the eternal future. That's like the strength of our blood system, our bones and our blood, literally.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's the bones. I mean, that's been one tremendous asset tool to getting out of the depression. Feldenkrais I did Feldenkrais for over 20 years with a Baba lover. And right here in Myrtle Beach. I've been here in Myrtle Beach. This is my 22nd year. And
I love that number, 22.
Really, yeah. And I go, Baba, for 22 years, I say, why do you have me here? Someone else is here now.
Welcome, Meth. Welcome to Radiant Health. So 22 years. And so that the gift then of our for your mental state, like that's what I think, as you say, there's nothing wrong. Everything is exactly placed from Baba. And when we look at our emotional state, our mental states, our physical states, including a depression that would lead you to attend to your form in relationship with someone else who's a Baba lover, like that kind of, what do you think the spiritual gift of that is? Of that experience?
I don't know, but I'm just glad it's over. I can tell you, it was too many years. And I remember I was only 23 when this well-meaning neighbor came over and she says, you better snap out of it. Because I was 23, but I didn't leave home. I thought, I don't know if I can hack it. She says, you better snap out of it. These are the best years of your life. That was the worst thing she could have told me. I thought, oh my God, if these are the best years, I'm in trouble.
Well, that's why I think that with the reading The Daring Dive into the Eternal Now, That, I mean, I have experiences, I'm sure, like many people do, of very unpleasant thoughts or emotions or sensations in the body when it hurts. But I've been listening to Baba's words.
Hold 1 second. I have to turn something I have on.
Okay. And I'll share this in a moment about, I'm reading from this book, Don't Worry, Be Happy. It's a compilation of Baba quotes. And there's one called Stake Everything on God. And what Baba says, and this is from Life at its Best, the way to peace and fulfillment in union with God, the divine beloved, is a daring dive into the eternal now. And that's where I think I find the gifts of my body sensations, my emotional states, and my thoughts. If I'm in the eternal now, of which I believe is the soul state, like, the incarnated spirit connected to the soul, then I can look out into this and have some perspective. And then be able to, like Baba says, a rider needs a horse if it's to go to battle. And similarly, we need a body if we are to be the vehicle for the release of divine life.
Yeah.
That vehicle of release of divine life, or the instrument, Baba also says, of bringing the kingdom of heaven down on earth. I think that's amazing.
Oh yeah, and this I had some contact with Esfandia, the Vasali, the Prem Ashram boy. He liked to eat silently. He didn't want conversation. He was just eating to stay in his body so he could make progress, drawing closer to Baba.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
I think you might be muted, Meth. Let me.
You are. You're muted.
Ask to unmute.
Okay.
There you are.
The book. Where did you get the book?
My daughter got it for me at Sherry down in Myrtle Beach when she was there a couple years ago.
Oh.
And it's called An Invaluable Treasure of Mayor Baba's Messages on Happiness, Cheerfulness, and Worry for All Times. Don't worry, be happy. They've got.
Who put it out? Who put it out?
Well, it says Avatar Mayor Baba, but let me go to the front page. Published by his mischievous chicklets.
I love it. Who was it?
I don't know who they are. the mischievous chicklets. I love that name, the mischievous chicklets.
Yeah.
It might be, I think it might be a younger group of Baba lovers that have done it. Maybe that's why they're chicklets, and my daughter knew about it. And I started this today, Meth. This is a quote from Rustam's The Real Treasure, but it's from Meru. Remember that where Baba is concerned, everything that happens is fine and just the way he wants it. So be happy for his sake, no matter what situation he puts you in. And I think what happens, like the gifts of our emotional state or our mental state or physical state, it gives us an opportunity to work with how to be happy because he's put us in it. And I don't often, I've always thought like Baba's put me in the physical state or the emotional state, but I haven't often, well, not even really until reading this and preparing for today, thinking that Baba has put me in my mental thoughts too. Like that my thoughts are also just what Baba has asked for. Now I can, from the soul spirit coming out, work with that or play with it to make it more aligned to be a vehicle for the release of divine life, or I can be garlic faced and sour and not. There's as an Italian, when I first read that, I'm like, garlic face, that's a good thing. Garlic's fabulous. But if I eat garlic raw, that's not so great. Although I have a dear friend who's a Baba lover, that whenever she thinks she might be getting a cold, she eats garlic raw.
Someone, I got a call from the center. Someone complained I had garlic breath. Really? And I says, well, I take garlic medicinally, because at first the person said, well, Italians, they use a lot of garlic. I said, I'm not Italian. I use it medicinally. it's cheap, and I'm not going to stop using it. And furthermore, I thought, why didn't the person say something to me? You know, I got a report that you had garlic breath. And I says, and you know, I says, furthermore, what if they don't like my personality? What am I to do then? And the person didn't say a word.
Well, and that's what I think has been coming for this radiant health, like the spiritual gifts of our bodies, all the different levels of our bodies. Like that there are gifts in that they've come. I always say, if we didn't need a body or a personality, we wouldn't have one for this journey. Like if it wasn't essentially necessary for the journey, we wouldn't have it. And I have been thinking a lot about the galaxies and the cosmos recently. And in my meditation recently, this, you know, with Baba, this is what came to me. And it's been helping me to see like YouTubes on the galaxies, to see how big the Milky Way is and where we are in it, in this little arm. And when I think I have a problem, if I can't get to the eternal now, I go out to the Milky Way galaxy and I look all the way down and think, on that speck and that speck and that speck, she's worrying about what? That's not a big problem.
You know what, Cindy, it's very funny because you know the degree of our galaxy is in Sagittarius.
I just found that out today, Rose. We've been listening to something, and on December 14th, when Sagittarius at like 36 degrees, like the galactic center energy emanated.
It was at 26 degrees.
26 degrees.
Yeah.
And I just thought, I'm Sagittarius too, and that's why Rosalie knows that about me. But I was thinking the galactic center was activated on the 14th, and on December 14th of this year, I found out information that was heinous to my ego. Wow. And I suffered. And when I felt that today, it was just like that quote, everything happened perfect for the reason. The galactic center was radiating. I don't even understand that kind of stuff, but I just thought it was cool.
That was, you know, that Mani Arani, her birthday was December 15th.
Yes, I do know that.
And Jane Haynes, they just did a celebration of her life. Hers was the 14th. Wow. You know, it's
I'm in good company if it were like a royal flush, you know, like I don't know cards either, but you know, when the numbers come in, I want to read this to you. This is what came to me in the, like with Baba, with the healing meditation. And this applies to all of us. And specifically my form, my spirit, my body, my mental state, my emotional body. I am the most conscious, concentrated, sentient power in existence. I have the ability to direct infinite creative energy at will. I am the most conscious, concentrated, sentient power in existence. I have the ability to direct infinite creative energy at will. And when I think I think humanity, like of the last in the evolutionary stage, like we're so concentrated. And I think that's what gets us so narcissistic about our body and our emotions and our personality. And as we come to know the gifts of them and we become the rider, not the horse, we can use that vehicle for the release of divine life, like the most conscious, sentient, concentrated power in the universe, like the result of all that evolution. And it really humbled me. Well, I mean, I guess if I'm saying I'm humbled, I'm not really humbled because, you know, when you have humility, you can say it. So I guess it sobered me, maybe is more accurate, to think like how important surrendering to Baba on the spiritual path is, so I can be a vehicle for him to use. Like if I've got this body, Baba's tapped us on the shoulder because we know him. So obviously we're under his nazar. We get to come together in these kind of occasions. And I've gotten to go to Samadhi and to Myrtle Beach and to Mayher Mount, that I owe it to, of course, like my own spirit's fulfillment, but to the whole universe. You know, if our bodies, like Baba says in Life of the Spirit, and I'll read that quote because it's just so beautiful. Baba says, the rider needs a horse if he is to fight a battle, though the horse can become an impediment if it refuses to be completely submissive to his will. In the same way, the spirit needs to be clothed in matter if it is to come into the full possession of its own possibilities. Although the body can at times become a hindrance if it refuses to be compliant with the requirements of the spirit. If the body yields to the claims of the spirit as it should, it is instrumental in bringing down the kingdom of heaven on earth. It becomes a vehicle for the release of divine life, and when it subserves this purpose, it might aptly be called the temple of God on earth. And in the same way, the spirit needs to be clothed in matter if it is to come into its full possession of its own possibilities. So this spirit of ours, this incarnated soul, to come into full possession of our possibilities. And that's what I was at least playing with today. You know, as humans, we are the most conscious, concentrated, sentient power in existence. We have the ability to direct infinite creative energy at will.
And also, I think this particular Advent, because Baba said something would happen that's never happened before. I mean, it's an avatar saying that. So, and it's a grand leap from intellectual to intuitive. It's like amazing change, just like it went from the different avatars bring something different. This is mega because we're so into the mind, you know, all the, like I saw this funny cartoon and I think it was Einstein saying, you know, all this technology, it's surpassed humanity. That's not healthy. That's not a good sign. You want humanity, because that very word, God, man, who, man, yeah, man.
Oh, it's something.
Where is Meth from? Where are you at?
From?
I'm in Tucson.
Oh, Tucson. Wow.
Oh.
Wow.
Right now I'm in southern New Jersey.
Ah.
And then you're in Myrtle Beach.
Well, I'm close by. I'm in Little River.
Oh,
Really? What did you say, Meth?
Little River, it's, you know, next door. I mean, Myrtle Beach is,
Well, yeah, but nothing's next door here with the traffic. You know, it's like it might as well be another state. Yeah, I'm not pleased, although I'm pleased during the pandemic because I'm surrounded by pine trees, loblolly pines. Otherwise, I'd be down.
Would you both like to experience a guided imagery into the being a vehicle for the release of divine life and being a kingdom of your body, being the kingdom of heaven on earth?
yes.
It would just be a short one, like 5 minutes. How about you, Rosalie? Are you not feeling it?
Well, I'll tell you what I feel. Because I've been very into Baba speaking in his mystical language, and I mean these are the little words that have gotten me through. That they're so intimate. It says, "See me live in you in small ways of life, the everyday ritual of selfless harmony." The unsatisfied element in you is God, who needs you to be like him. He needs you to be like him. I love that. And it goes, unsatisfied humor is God, when winning in you the dual show of I. I mean, it goes on, and I live by that, because when Baba, he said, when he spoke in that mystical language, it's not intellectual.
That's right.
He said it's to be read with reverence So for a year now, I've been I've been taking the dive into this mystical language, and it helps me like no other thing now because it's such a mess. It's such a mess. Yeah.
So let's do that for ourselves and for everyone. Just take this time to come out of the mind, or let the mind do what it does, but take a daring dive into the eternal now. I'll mute you just for now, and then I'll open it up. All right, so I invite you to get comfortable, just if your body needs to move a little more, whatever it is, to attend to this horse, because the horse that the rider is using, if it's not groomed, if it's not fed, if it's not cared for, attended to, it's not going to be able to take the rider into battle, which that's a funny analogy for us being here on earth. I guess the battle is to enjoy, to don't worry and be happy. That's our battle. So to allow your body just a relationship with it in this moment, that you have these trillions of cells and all of them have messages, abilities to communicate through the nervous system. And as you become aware of this, just being conscious of your breath, the inhales, taking in oxygen and other gases, the exhale, exchanging what you no longer need that the plants can use. When you're inhaling, imagining this creative life force energy riding in, going to support every cell of your body and every thought of your mind. Our breath, Baba says he is nearer to us than our own breath. But we also have the breath to feel this pulsation, this rhythm of the universe that we live in with him. And as you're breathing, as you're opening up to a full relationship with the possibilities of your own body that is serving your incarnated spirit and serving the purposes that you've come to this earth for, and that Baba gets to use us for. See if you can let your heart center in the center of your chest just like breathe too. Like when you breathe in, imagine front and back and even all around, the inhale is coming in 360 degrees and the exhale is coming out 360 degrees. Because as we breathe, as we use our imagination, which is the great creative power that God used to imagine us, as we breathe into that heart center, we can let ourselves feel gratitude for this glorious instrument, this incredible vehicle gifted to us by Baba, by our soul, to be a necessary part of the fulfillment of our purpose on earth, the divine experience of remembering what we are, of coming into more and more consciousness that we are Baba centers personified, radiating his eternal message of love divine. And then just bringing this to the words of Baba, the spirit, your spirit needs to be clothed in this matter, in this body, if it is to come into the full possession of its own possibilities. So just saying to yourself, my spirit needs to be clothed in my body if I am to come into full possession of my own possibilities of my spirit. And my body now yields to the claims of this spirit so that I am instrumental in bringing down the kingdom of heaven on earth. And just to imagine that as a whirling rush of love and motion, light energy coming through you, through your body, through your cells, radiating out 360 degrees like a starburst of divine love. Knowing that you are a light being, you are love and motion. And as you come into your full possibilities and you radiate that to the world, you become, as Baba said, that contagion where love keeps spreading and spreading. You go on, true love goes on gathering power and spreading itself until it eventually transforms everyone it touches. Humanity will attain a new mode of being in life through the free and unhampered interplay of pure love from heart to heart. Then coming back, keeping that imagery in the energy body alive, in service to your spirit's incarnation and your greater soul's purpose, as well as Baba's divine direction, breathing once again into your heart center, letting your heart purify in Baba's radiant love and the pulsating light of this release of divine life, with more appreciation for your precious human form, with your emotional bodies, your mental bodies, your energy bodies, and all of the levels of the seeming more dense form that are learning how to be strong and stable and pure, to be unimpeded conduits for bringing the kingdom of heaven down on earth. It's a noble cause and it's a joyful endeavor. And then whenever you're ready, you can bring yourself back and gently open your eyes. And when you do open your eyes, see your surroundings and even the images on the screen just as light forms, light manifesting, vibration, with this increased level of pulsating of God's love, this eternal message of love divine. So I thank you so much for coming today to Radiant Health. You can unmute yourself if you'd like. I don't know that Ruth is on because she's taking a new class over for me right now or not, but I want to give it over to her if she needs to welcome other people in. But if you would like to share, Rosalie and Meph, just in a moment, like how you're feeling or any gratitude you have for your body, anything you want to share, really. Let me invite you to unmute.
These are not my words. These are Baba's Signorina, but they just seem so perfect. It says, so it is in this making believe that I here am God as man. Be sure of this and never doubt, and never hesitate to come to me for help. If it is for a tiny bit of mercy, come to me. If it is for a tiny bit of love, come to me. If it is for a tiny bit of joy that has no end, come to me.
Oh, beautiful.
I love that so much. I just so much, and I love that and so it is in this making believe, because it's make believe that we're separate. It's make believe. Yeah.
And I think in the make believe, like that's fun. When we were kids, make believe is fun. And I'd like to say somewhere along the line, the fun of imagination became the fear of imagination, or we got channeled into other people's imaginations, and then people imagine horrible things that they can do to other people or ourselves. Like we can imagine these horrible things. And in this land of make believe, which I believe is our creative power, when we imagine, we can create with that, to start to imagine like my body is a vehicle for the release of divine life. I mean, I think that's why Baba says, did you sleep? Did you eat? How do you take care of your body? Because the force can really do some crazy great things, on this planet, for love, for joy, for harmony.
This is so funny because in Chinese astrology, Baba is a horse, Mara is a horse, and Mani, they're all horses, different. But I think of Baba as the Trojan horse, because now he's beautiful, awesome, but now the power is coming out.
Yes.
The power is coming out. Yeah, the manifestation. Yeah, it's very much.
And I think like when Baba says, like, where false modesty begets weakness, but greatness begets humility, to really know how great we are, to have this form. I mean, it's a miracle. Science can't really figure it out, like how a soul comes into a body and the soul DNA, right in this, I think the physical DNA and what happens here. And I think it brings like that sense of greatness and dignity, brings the humility of what an amazing creation God has made, and that we're part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I walk with this woman in my neighborhood. It's been a blessing that I have, and she has a dog, and I walk with her. We do like 7 miles a day just around the neighborhood. But this morning we were talking about evolution, and she says, I don't know, it puzzles me because, religion says, God, and then God created man. But I say, but it didn't say how, we evolved, that's a tremendous creation, and it was just puzzling. She says, it doesn't go together, but I mean, it's so, I don't know if you've come across Phyllis Frederick, and she was a beautiful, beautiful soul that met Baba, very wise. And she says, it's so easy to misconstrue the Bible. It's just so easy because it's in allegories and, just like, and she was very well studied, all the religion. And she remembers being in a hospital for tonsillitis or something, and the nuns coming in there and asking her if she prayed. And I remember, and they say, you must pray. I think they might have mentioned hell, and she said, I believe a different way. She's 12 years old, but she was an old soul. She says, I don't believe like that. I just don't believe that, and she was a wonderful person to be around. Speak of expansive. Wow. Yeah. With Baba, she was like,
wow. Meph, would you like to share anything before we complete for tonight?
Not really. What is this meeting?
It's called Radiant Health.
Okay, I did have that. Okay, I wrote it down as Radiant Heart, but
similar, Radiant Heart, about the heart center radiating, Baba's eternal message of love divine. That's what it's about, is about that prescription when Baba says, I want my lovers to be Baba centers, radiating the eternal message of love divine. And I think to have a sparkling body doesn't mean it has to be in perfect health, but what it means to appreciate the body so it can radiate literally that light out of us. And we're
That's
doing it.
good for me to hear right now. I have physical problems and I kind of get into it.
Yes, and to call on that kind of pure light, love energy to give your body what it needs so that you can be a vehicle for the release of divine life. You know, it's okay. It's not, I like to say that there's no brownie points in heaven for unnecessary suffering. You know, some suffering is necessary, as Baba says, but it's not unnecessary suffering. You know, that's just masochism. And so we always have to walk this fine line between, you know, wanting some alleviation of physical symptoms. But when we really know that we want to be this living, radiant force for Baba, which you can do in your house as well as on a world stage. I mean, it doesn't matter what you're doing. And if you know that you are diverting your attention to the body, and it's kind of like, it's not, you know, the horse isn't complying with the claims of your spirit. And that's when I think you can say, hey, horse, the claims of my spirit are, I would like to clear this up a little bit, and I would like to then sit in meditation and pray without pain. I don't believe that I have the last word on this, but I think it's really wonderful to contemplate having a freer body form as also being in service to Baba, as well as having the physical issues. Like, it's the good and the bad, and neither one are better than the other. And I think that we can ask for that, to yield to the claims of our spirit, ask Baba for guidance for our physical, emotional, mental sufferings, so that our spirit can come to its full radiance and serve him, you know, without any hindrance. So it's sending lots of love to you in your precious form, Meph. And this will conclude Radiant Health. And I believe that Ruth is starting something else very soon.
I have to show you, Meth. This is,
I saw it.
yeah, because this zooming is like being squeezed together on the blue bus, and they were squeezed in there. If you've seen that blue bus, was small. They packed, what, 30 people in there? I mean, that was
So I'm just going to leave the meeting, but the meeting will still be up because Ruth is on it as co-host for the next event. And
the Archie's coming.
Archie, and I'm so grateful for you all, and for Baba, Jay Maher,
Yeah.
Baba, Rosalie, and Meph, and everyone that receives this in the eternal now of cyberspace on YouTube. Thank you, thank you.
Thank
bless.
you. Thank
Jai
you.
Baba.
Jay Baba.